He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Green, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we're seen everywhere live in the Ingles studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat, and you too can revel in the glory that is NFL Cut Day. And here's the news that you've all been waiting for.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
And there is no deal.
I tried to tell you.
No deal.
I tried to tell you that this is how this was going to go.
Adam Schefter reporting no deal. Indianapolis did not find what it felt was fair value, a fair value offer for Jonathan Taylor, and it is not trading its all-pro running back today, league sources tell ESPN. With no trade materializing today, Taylor now is expected to remain on the PUP list, making him ineligible to play in the first 4 games of the season. Taylor is now expected to miss games versus the Jaguars, the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, and the L.A. Rams. He continues that the Colts' next best opportunity to deal their all-pro running back could be before the NFL's October 31st trade deadline. If no deal by then the Colts could tag Jonathan Taylor and try to trade him again this offseason. But there is no end of this drama currently in sight.
So there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
One, I tried to tell you, running backs in this league are just barely more valuable than kickers. It's just the way it is. So now you're at a standoff. He cannot play for 4 weeks.
Yes.
4 o'clock came. He's still on the PUP list. Nothing that could, even if they traded him now, he's still sitting out the first 4 games for whoever they traded him.
Yes.
The before the trade deadline thing is interesting enough to me, because I do think there's a possibility somebody goes down, a contender starts slower than they anticipated, they get desperate. Desperate people do desperate things. Mm-hmm. Look around a bar at 1:45 in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's not hard to figure out. Now the question for me is, what do you do if you're Indianapolis? All right, so he's not playing the first 4 games, period. You've already said you're starting a rookie quarterback. Well, who are you going to put behind him?
Evan Hull. Another rookie.
Don't play with my heart like that. I love Evan Hull.
I mean, is he not?
I love him.
Is he not the no doubt second string running back now?
No, Deion Jackson's probably the starter.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Deion Jackson's probably the starter. You'll get some combination of Zach Moss and Evan Hull. I mean, now Evan Hull will show up in the first 4 weeks and we'll go, we need Jonathan Taylor for it.
Exactly.
We got a guy who's taking Wildcat snaps as a Wildcat at Northwestern. I'm being a little facetious, but not as much as you would think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this does anything promising for Anthony Richardson.
No.
You needed Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's amending offenses here at all. Do you?
No. This was done weeks ago, a month and a half ago, whenever that first story came out that Jim Irsay had gone on Twitter and basically just said, I don't respect running backs and I'll never pay one.
Oh, yeah. Jim Irsay smoked crimes, went on Twitter, wiped the snow off his nose, took a shot at his running back and all running backs, tried to buy a whale. The whale died after he spent $1 bajillion on it. It was an old whale, okay? Calm down. Whale, it didn't wreck its Harley at Bike Week. I'm just saying. All right? Whale had a good life. I think we're fine.
Well, let's hope he did. Or she, or I'm not trying to assign gender.
I'm stuck on what exactly are you doing here?
I have no clue.
Because you have this super raw quarterback that I am not sure could complete 60% of his passes on air. You're already putting him behind a line that at left tackle is starting Bernard Raymond, who, to say he was not great last year would be That would be like saying that Tank looks a little pale right now.
Yeah, but we all understand why.
No, Tank looks like powder and looks like he's about to burst into flames. That's what happens when you get a pale man wearing a light shirt with a very fluorescent light on him.
Very true. I wasn't thinking of that when I switched that line.
Yeah, okay, just don't wear the optical illusion shirts or anything really light. We need to get you a steady diet of navy blue.
Navy blue and blacks. That's all you need.
So you've already got a left tackle that I don't really trust. Quentin Nelson has regressed. I'm not saying because of the talent. I'm not sure he's as good as we thought he was. Oh, we were talking about as a generational guard. I'm not sure he's that. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Kelly is the guy that you were looking to trade in the offseason. You got a side of fries at the other guard, and Braden Smith, who regressed last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting back behind that the rawest quarterback that's been taken in the first round, not named Trey Lance in the last 10 years.
Yep.
Do you see how bad that sounds when I say it all? Oh, and I forgot. The receiving core leaves a lot to be desired because it's Michael Pittman and a bunch of dudes.
Josh Downs.
There's been a lot of positive about him. The only problem is that you got him and Isaiah McKenzie that are a hat on a hat, and you can't really play them together.
Right.
You got a whole bunch of tight ends. It looks like they kept 4 from the best of what I can tell. I haven't gotten a definitive on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like Indianapolis is the definition of dead man walking. You're walking into a season that Justin Fields' rookie year, that's your best case scenario. Your worst case scenario is Akili Smith's rookie year, where you go, now, how did you fall for this bad? Because he is not good. And I think that's on the table. You've screwed this up to such a point that that's on the table. And look, I like the defense. Front 7, I think, is really solid. Back half, that leaves, like the receiver core, leaves a lot to be desired.
Yes.
But you have taken this quarterback that you've just waxed poetic about how you would have taken him at number 1, which, if that's true, you're dumber than I think you are. You've built all this up, but you set him up to fail. This is a kid that completed 53% of his passes in college. Now you're going to put him in the NFL starting week 1, and you've given him nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'll just go ahead and tell you, if I'm an agent around the NFL, I'm watching this going, I'm out. We've seen this before. Arizona Cardinals, Jacksonville Jaguars, when Shad Khan first took over, I'm good. I'm not sending my guys here because you are clueless. And that's kind of where I'm at with Indianapolis.
Yeah. If the offensive line is as bad as they were last year, then this is the worst team in the NFL. I'll be honest with you. I did my prognostications again last night at the behest of one Jeremy Green.
Yeah, you're also one of those that has like 6 teams that go 1-16.
We've had
4 of those in the last 25 years. Tank has 5 of them a year.
I do not.
They can beat each other and no one else.
I have 2 of those teams this year. And one of them is the Indianapolis Colts. Because I don't see how you're going to beat anybody.
Well, I mean, the good thing is you get a bunch of games with teams that are not as bad as you, but in the ballpark. You play Houston twice. Mm-hmm. You play the Los Angeles Rams. You play your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't say you're beating anybody else.
I was going to say, and I don't like you better than any of those.
When I did your projections, I could not get attempted passes for Anthony Richardson low enough. Because I feel like you have to babysit him because he's that raw. Mm-hmm. This is Trey Lance all over again. Nobody wants to admit that because we've seen Anthony Richardson. He didn't play at some weird school out in the middle of nowhere in the FCS. He was at Florida. He was right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
He did not throw that many passes. He did not start that many games.
No, and he
looked awful at times.
I was going to say he wasn't that good at it.
The special was special.
Yes, he had his highlight plays where you went, my God, he just dropped one on a dime 60 yards down the field. But then he would have those throws. And I said this to you yesterday off the air. The more and more that I watched Anthony Richardson in this preseason, I saw bad Cam Newton. I saw a guy who
this is like Cam Newton now.
He had the same running style, right? He can get you big yards. He's going to lower that shoulder. He's going to take the hit. He's going to put himself at risk.
The way he's built, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I mean, I don't like it long term.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, you got to say Anthony Richardson is as big as I am. All right, that's a gigantic. We've not seen a ton of quarterbacks ever built like this that were even in the ballpark of this fast.
Yeah.
We've also not seen many that are this raw. I mean, you're talking about he ran 2 schemes. All right, there was the Dan Mullen scheme that he was recruited into. He didn't do much with that. And then he was there with Billy Napier last year. The more Billy Napier asked him to do, the worse he was. I mean, I told this story last year. I'm a lifelong Florida State fan. I walked into a Florida Gator bar decked out in Florida State stuff and just looked around like, breathe it in, man. You ain't beating us with that guy. Straight up. And that's college.
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen now?
He's sailing passes the same way Cam Newton would do. He'd get one every now and then that looked like it was on target. He might fumble the ball around a little bit, trying to get going on the run play or the RPO or whatever they're running, and he'll throw 1, 2, maybe 3 good balls a game, and you'll go, oh, see, that's the win. That's what we want to see on a consistent basis. But he'll never give it to you. I think Cam Newton is this guy's ceiling. Cam Newton's average is this guy's ceiling. Not the 2015 MVP year,